Hello, good morning. January 5th. Let's see in the news today. So we have a news on intelligence sharing in India. States told to share intel on common grid. So we have a common grid in the name, multi-agency center that has been set up after Kargil war. But states are reluctant to share information with the centralized grid. So we can identify this in the internal security chapter. You can remember the name and maybe as way forward for terrorism and related activities, against terrorism and related activities. You can use this initiative or this body, multi-agency center, as like one of the way forwards. Then key accused in UP case arrested. This is not a news that we have to study, but this is the bully by UP. It's an example or a case study for GS4 and society and women issues, social justice, right? So it's a good example to quote in because this issue has been well discussed, the way things are going. So writing that in your answer, bringing that into your answer will help you fetch, even if you haven't fetched a lot of marks, it will help you to create a good impression in the minds of the examiner, and that will reflect in the overall marks you will get across the question. So try to bring in such examples into your answer, right? Then inadequate response, this is about the EWS conundrum. So EWS as a policy has been studied much in the 2019-2020 mains, and this has been in news very prominently now. So study the policy to an extent, not like in too depth, but in a reasonable manner you can study that. Also identify the various issues identified by the income limit that is there, and then the various ways to ascertain that is being set. And there is also like the EWS reservation is still under judicial review, yet to be completed, so that issue is also mentioned. You can look into that. Now since it is discussed in such a breadth, now you can just maybe have a small note just in case if at all the question asks. So have a small one. The hint of a one nation one NGO regime. So this one talks about the FCRA thing that we have been seeing for a long now, but this is a good article, it turns out. So there has been a pattern on the organized attack on civil society, and the author is trying to deconstruct the pattern on two fronts. If the purge is because of violation that seems to be threatening sovereignty because of evidence of money laundering, alternative the organizations have been xenophobic considerations. And then it goes on to talk about the relevance of NGO, and that's where the article got really good. So delivery of accountability from the state, and then it talks about the various ways in which picking up the cost that are so niche that it's beyond the capacity of the state. And then it also talked about the issue of funding, why foreign funding is required. It talks about missionaries of charity. Yeah, so it is in a good way studies all these dimensions, like why the possible reasons for government action, the need for NGO, why funding is an issue or why funding is required, and then it's also like conflates it with the funding received by political parties and FCA, foreign direct investment, FDI. Both are like in a way foreign money coming in to India itself, right? So that is there. Then industrial image, this is an Andhra Pradesh specific one, so industrial image maker, again not needed. Sri Lankan cabinet clears oil tank deal, the Tringomali project. Okay, just discuss it, but if you haven't seen that already, please make it into your notes. Indo-Sri Lanka relations. So similarly, there could be a prelims possibility of Tringomali. The location is important, and a prelims based question can also be expected. Northeast should be a growth driver. It's basically an election rally, but there are a few points that is about the palm oil cultivation that the PM has made. So anyhow, you can be looking at Northeast should be a growth driver. How Northeast can uh, contribute to Indian economy, and Northeast and regional cooperation with the other ASEAN countries. So all these dimensions have been much discussed with respect to India's foreign policy as well as domestic policy. So see how Northeast is placed in a critical junction and how it can contribute to various aspects of India's development. You can also talk about how it should be handholded, how it should be helped. Northeast എങ്ങനെ ഈ ഒരു റോളിലേക്ക് വരാൻ നമുക്ക് ഹെൽപ്പ് ചെയ്യും. So the cartoon itself is quite interesting. Disturbed area extended of one side and then the other side preaching. So that dimension also need to be understood. Northeast as a whole is necessarily to be understood. China to modernize nuclear arsenal. So couple of news are happening. Yesterday also we had a news about the nuclear weapons and NPT, and then you have China statement. So just read that. Not you don't have to read it, understand it thoroughly, but an overview would be fine. Gold imports. Okay, see imports, exchange rate, current account, balance of payment, all these things are important for prelims. So you must have a clear conceptual clarity how one aspect is related to the other economic dimensions, one economic dimension with others, like import with exchange rate or import with BOP and BOP with exchange rate. See that. That's it, I guess, for today. There's a small article on Sudan crisis. Just read the gist. That's enough for us. We don't have to go into the minute details of the crisis, but a large overview would be fine. A failed deal between Andrews and Davos Media. A few of these questions are good. How can Canadian court order attachment of Indian assets ignoring state immunity? That's a good question, because usually state and the organizations or the establishment of states have immunity from other state actions. So how can that be done? How can assets of A, B, C when claim is against India? So a couple of good interesting questions, or you can do by reading the gist also. So 2-minute read, not more than that. Not to recognizing value of housework. This is an article on women empowerment and the feminist narrative. So can read into it, not specifically about GS question. You can lose these ideas in essay. So it's good to read that, collect some good points from the article that is given. So there is something few arguments about the home, the household work that woman is rendering without any economic returns. So that can be understood. Essay was very nice article. So you can again finish this article in about 7 to 10 minutes, not more than that. And the gist also will help. If at all, you can just read the gist and then move on. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much for today. Have a good day.